One of the great joys of being a woodworker is when people come up to you and say, hey, would you like some free wood? And yes is usually the answer. Well, recently I was approached by a woman who owns a local orchard, apple orchard, and she said that this fall they were going to be taking down some of the trees, and would I like some apple wood? Yes, please. Actually, I had no idea what applewood was like, but I did go over and got some chunks. So together, we're gonna mill this log up and we'll find out. Stay tuned. I do want to announce that we have a course running with Fine Woodworking Magazine, a video course. And if you use the affiliate link, that is affiliate 40, is that correct?
Yes. First, you need to go to our website. It's epicwoodworking.com, FWW course.
It's a getting started with veneer course that we recorded some time ago. It starts in January, but if you go to that link, you'll get over there and use the affiliate 40 link and they'll know that you came from us. It doesn't cost you any more. You get the 40% off, and it just helps us out a little bit that they know you came from our vantage point.
Yeah, you have to go to our website and get the link, and then there's a coupon code, what Tom is mentioning, affiliate 40, you put in at the point of order. So you get 40% off right now until Sunday. So if you're interested, make sure you do that. We don't know what discounts will be happening after that, but that's what they're telling us now. So
it's a great course. If you've always wanted to try veneer, it's a great way to get started. And I'm looking forward to see what kind of response they have there at Fine Woodworking. They're editing it real slick. We're going to have 3 live sessions, so it'll be a good time. All right. Remember, if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. And let's get into it. I've been wanting to cut into this piece of apple wood for some time. I did a little looking up and researching on it and was surprised to discover apple wood is more dense, is harder than hard maple. So I thought, wow, that should be something. And when we cut it, cutting the cross cuts over at the apple orchard, you could see a very reddish brown heart. It was red, almost like you'd expect for being an apple tree. This happened to be a Macintosh. This orchard had a little sentimental value because we took our kids there to pick apples from these very same trees.
So many years.
So it's kind of fun to think about making something out of these very trees. Now, once you cut down a piece like that, it was kind of heavy, it was wet, you're concerned about checking from the ends, especially when it's that wet of a tree. So you want to seal the ends as soon as you can. I have tried heavy bodied paint, like just slathering on heavy paint. Some people told me that would work, but it doesn't work that well, I can tell you. It works somewhat, but not that great. If you really want to seal it, you want more of a waxy coating on there. I've had this stuff whenever I'm needing to seal up some freshly cut wood. I'll use this anchor seal. It's a paraffin liquid with water emulsion or whatever. But trust me, it goes on and it's like painting it on. And you can see that kind of opaque look, and I can feel it. It feels like a candle right there. So these have been sealed up, and I've only cut them like 2 weeks ago. So they're really wet. Anyway, I thought it'd be fun, as we have once or twice before, to use the bandsaw as a bandsaw mill, almost, so we can cut up this material. And I wanted to show you the process of doing that because you might have some nice looking firewood around, or a few logs or a tree that's sentimental to you on your property that you want to cut up like this. So I just cut this to about a 2-foot length. And the reason I went actually so short was to be able to handle it and haul it out of the orchard, but also because apple trees are notoriously bendy. They're intentionally trimmed from the top to keep them stumpy so the apples stay low. But it was really difficult to find just a little bit of a straight shot. So there wasn't a lot to pick from there. And then I had to think about what kind of things do I want to do with it. And so 24 inch, I thought it's going to be plenty big. Maybe you'll make some charcuterie boards or something. It's well known for using to make like spoons and ladles and things like that because of the hardness and the beautiful color and all that. But this I just want to slice up. I'm thinking of slicing this up and maybe making some of the famous coasters that we made one time.
Yes.
Where we have that red wood. And if I get some nice ones, I thought I would put some cork on them and give them as a gift.
Yeah,
back to
they're
Hattie,
awesome gifts.
the lady who owns the orchard.
Yeah.
So we'll check that out. But now we've got to get this cut up. Now, it was hard, like I said, to find a straight piece. So you can see from this side, it's got a curve to it. So generally what you want to do when you're milling stock like this is you want to avoid the pith, the center pith. So I'm going to just shoot to cut right down the pith. That way it's going to get alleviated on that first couple boards anyway. So if I want to cut straight down the pith and I want a straight shot, I don't want to be cutting it with the log curved from this point. I want to rotate it until I see it look fairly straight, and it looks pretty straight right from here, right? If I flipped it upside down, it would too, but then I'm balancing on that little bit of a burl. Oh, that's probably where they cut a limb off. So there I am. I'm going to try to hold it just like this. Now that's pretty tricky, right? It's not easy. So what I want to do is get it in position and somehow secure this so I can make that straight shot cut on the bandsaw. Now, let's see. How are we going to do this? Well, I think it would also help if we can locate the pith. So on this end, it's kind of odd. It's over here. It's well off the, so you can see the circles, and that's the center or pith of the tree. Now let's see if I can find the one over here. Someone had to go and wax this. I can't see. It's right about there. I can see the rings circling, but it's hard to detect exactly. That's close enough. All right, so I want to try to get these aligned. Okay, so that looks good. That actually isn't bad. Let's see. If I can set that pith so it's roughly in the center. All right, that'll work if I get it right there. Now, I want to support this right in this position for making the cut. Now, I've seen, prior you could make like a little L fence like this and put a wedge in there or an angle bracket and then secure it to the L fence. But that's a little tricky because this has a bend to it. So, you know me, I'm all for the simplest, direct way of doing it. And so I've got some bending plywood. It's about 6.5 inches wide. And it bends in that direction. So, well, I'm losing my... So it bends super easy, but not this way, because all the grain is running this way except for one little thin membrane going the other way. But what this does is it allows me to hold it like this, and I can attach it to the log and then bend it and just screw a piece in there. And I'm going to be getting a relative straight edge to ride against. So let me double check where that is. I want it roughly in the center.
Why am I feeling a little lack of confidence in the log's willingness to stay put?
Oh, I thought you were going to say in the logger.
Oh, no. All right. Confidence in the logger.
All right. Well, anyway, here we go. I'm gonna look for the center point of this, and I've just got this 1-inch screw, so this will barely hurt anything.
This is loud.
It'll end up getting cut away. Okay, I don't have to land it all the way. Now I'm gonna just find another place down here. So just gonna balance the log and shoot this little piece of wacky wood right in there.
So much for straight.
No, this is not straight, is it? This is not a very straight. But I'm gonna make a straight cut. It's pretty close to straight, actually. It's just not. This side is definitely not. So.
Greg mentions that apple cracks a lot. Have you experienced that?
Well, yeah. I saw some that I played around with a little bit. I don't really know. I'm gonna try it. Okay, so I'll let you know. I'm going to try to cut this thick enough that we can get around that. And if I can dry it slow enough, I think we might be okay.
The pace and the temperature, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but I know it. I think it's a difficult wood. So to give it more stability, I'm going to throw another piece of wacky wood down the other side, and basically get this thing right in a cradle. But look how fast and easy that was. I didn't have to build any special kind of L bracket, jig, or anything like that. And because it's bendy, it can easily attach to whatever the tree is. Okay.
Have you considered, Michael's asking, have you considered joining it on the joiner to get a straight edge?
Oh yeah, thanks, Michael. That's what I meant to say. You can do that, but it takes a while. I played around with a different piece, and I thought what I'd do is establish flat by just trying to cut right down the middle of this thing. But yeah, that's hard because there again, you have to hold it relatively flat. But once I crack this open, then I'll have a flat surface on which to lay on the table. We'll just get a few cuts out of this thing and see what we got. All right, that should do it.
Stick to cutting the wood and not our hands.
And not what?
Not our hands.
Oh, yeah. I'll try not to. All right, so now I've got to make my line.
Famous last words, right?
Yeah. I got to make my line. I'm going to just sight it right up from the center. I've got a line right there. And then I'm coming right up from the pith over here. Right there. Now I need a straight edge. Just bring over. Let's see. It's got to be relatively straight. I'm not trying to. I'm cutting a tree here. So I've just got a little Sharpie here right on the bark. There it is.
How long were those screws, Tom?
I just little 1-inchers. I didn't want to do much because I don't want to go too deep and mess up some of this beautiful wood. All right, so there we are. We've got our secure cradle and now our center line. Let's head over to the bandsaw. All right, so you can see if I wet this, it's pretty nice looking. Isn't that beautiful? Can you see it? All right.
Yeah, it's awesome. Tony had asked right before, will the pith run straight or does it matter? Is that revealing?
No, it's not
answer?
running dead straight. I mean, I'm trying to cut as close to it. I'll end up slightly to one side. What bothers me more about what I'm seeing is I can see the pith right there. So we do see it, that little hollow core. And it's kind of coming right in here and then up here. But I'm seeing a little check down that middle, but that's okay. But man, that's pretty flat for just a freehand cut like that. So
What size blade did you use there, Tom?
I've got a 3/4 inch blade on there. Sometimes that's,
It's bigger than your other bandsaw.
yeah, it's a 4-tooth. So it's pretty aggressive. You could do it with a 1/2 inch, but you want fewer teeth here to get rid of the material. Because it's wet, it actually cuts easier than dry wood does. So great, but look at how true that is just using that method of putting a straight arm on there. So that's a pretty sweet, quick way of stabilizing stock to cut it. Now that we've got this, we want to cut some wafers. I'm going to take this one. So let's take these screws out and see what I can get. Maybe some material off, and we can start drying it. And I'd like to do something with it pretty soon. So we won't cut it super thick. Hopefully we'll have it for those, gosh, that looks super flat. My goodness, I'm not even gonna joint that. That's pretty flat. So pretty happy with that. So just the Sharpie, straight edge, and holding that. So now I could just balance it on this edge, but I think I'm gonna trim it again to get a little straighter edge. Okay, now I'm going to move up the fence. And this, what I have cut so far, really cupped. And I saw some checks, but not all of it. So I'm going to give myself a little extra here. I'm going to go a 1/2 inch strong. Those coasters finish at like 5/16, so let's see if this works. Not too bad. One more. All right. Well, that was pretty nice, huh? Look at this. Let's
awesome.
get some water on it over here. Boy, that's a gorgeous color, though, isn't it? I'm not used to seeing wood like that. But isn't that sweet? Look at that. We got some. We could definitely get some nice looking coasters in here, you know, down the side here. That's some really gorgeous color. So like a lot of fruit woods, it has a beautiful color. Pear is a more golden color. Pear wood you do see used more often in fine furniture. I know James Krenoff used to like to use it, but this is actually quite rare wood. So you don't often see apple because the trees are pruned to be low picking, as I said. So it's not commercially viable. Plus it's very gnarly and windy, and who knows, I may find out it's a nightmare when it comes to the checks and all that. But we'll see. I've got some other limbs and some larger ones too to cut up, but it is fun to do it and see what we get. Thanks again for being part of this. On behalf of Kimberly and myself, we look forward to seeing you again next week, right back here on Shop Night Live.
Gosh.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
That was not very loud that time.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's great to be with you.